And I loved Thelma Ray Goodpepper. And then all of a sudden, I went back, and Oleta began to change. And the book became alive to me. Alive. Every day I would wake up and go, where are we going today? What's going to happen? I had no outline for this book. Because Cece and Oleta Jones and Thelma Ray Goodpepper, they all took the story and they ran with it, and I just let them go. And when they got too far, I had to reel them back, because Thelma Ray wanted to steal the show, you know. If you've read the book, you know Thelma, she wanted that book to be about her, and I wouldn't let her. So that's what happened. I wrote this book. And then when I got done, because I'm not a kid anymore, I started research, and I knew then, that was when I knew that getting a book published was about as easy as walking out this door and finding $100 million sitting on the ground. It's just not going to happen. It's very difficult to get published. And that's when I decided I would really look at who was doing what and why and research it. And then I edited more and more and more. And finally I came up with a list. And so I sent out what is known as a query letter. And I was scared to death. And I was upset because Cece was the only child I've ever had, other than my fur babies. And it was like sending your little girl, your only child, on the school bus the first day. I didn't want to let her go. But let her go, I did. And one of the agencies that I submitted to was Inkwell Management in New York City, because they have such a stellar reputation. And I thought, you know, just go big or go home, Beth. Just do it, because you have never done your life being afraid. I'm a very bold person. You go after what you want. You have to believe in it. So I thought, just do it. What's the worst that can happen? You're going to get rejected. Everybody gets rejected. So the great thing about technology is that everything's done in email now. So I sent off a query letter via email, and within hours I got a response saying, this sounds interesting. It's from Catherine Drayton. Please send me the first 3 chapters. So I did. Well, the next day I got an email from Catherine, and I knew it was a rejection, because there's no way she would have had time to read these 3 chapters. But I opened it up, and sure enough, she said she really liked it, sent her the whole manuscript. This is a Friday, and the whole manuscript is 326 pages. So I sent it off. Well, Friday I came in from doing some gardening. Bing, I've got mail. And that's when I really knew it was a rejection. There's no way an agent is going to read this manuscript over the weekend. So I didn't want to open it. I was being real immature. I thought, I don't want to see what she has to say. When I finally opened it, I was blown away. Her first words were, you've swept me off my feet. And she offered me representation. And I was thrilled, just beyond thrilled. And I went out screaming to my husband to tell him. And when I came in, the phone was ringing, and I have caller ID, and I looked at it, and it was all these numbers. It wasn't normal. It went right off the screen. I thought, what? So I picked it up. And this voice says, hello, Beth, it's Catherine. She lives in Australia. I had no idea. Australia. Because of technology, she could move back to her homeland and still work with Inkwell Management New York. So here's this Australian calling me saying, oh, I love this book. It's wonderful. I don't think you know what you've got here. And I'm like, really? And she said, you know, all of the publishers are at the Frankfurt Book Fair, and they're going to be gone for a whole week, and they won't be back for a week from Monday. And I don't want to have this sitting buried in their emails, so I'm going to send it out the Monday they return. We'll see what happens. We should hear something within 2 to 3 weeks. Fine. I'm done. I've done my part. Now Catherine has it in her hands. So the Monday I knew they were sending it, I just smiled and said, all right. Tuesday the phone rang, and it was Catherine. She said, hello, I hope you're sitting down. She goes, we have several publishers that are crazy about Cece. Have you ever heard of Pamela Dorman? And of course, then that's when I almost fell over, because Pam Dorman is legendary in women's literature. And I'm like, yes, yes, I've heard of her. She said she loves this book so much she wants it off the table. I said, do you mean like off the table in a preempt? She said, yes. I'll be calling you back. We're working out details. But when she called me back and she told me where things were in negotiations, I said, well, you accepted? She said, oh, no. And I'm like, Catherine, I haven't worked in 4 years. I really would like to be paid. She said, hang on. The book's going to get what it deserves. Just hang on. So I hung on, and I panicked, thinking this publisher's going to tell her, forget it. Well, an hour later, she called back, and she said, here's the deal. And when she told me, I literally had to sit down. I couldn't believe it. Oh, gosh. And that was it. Pamela Dorman. And I'm going to backtrack just a second to share with you something that's very important to me, is that my life changed when I almost died. It was amazing to me what happened. And when I was in bed every morning, I noticed something I'd never seen before in my whole life. I collect crazy old perfume bottles. Give me some junky perfume bottles and I'm happy. I love them. And here I had lived in this apartment before I bought my house for 5 years. And the way the sun would come in the window, I never noticed before how it would glint off the perfume bottles. I never noticed that because I was too busy and too tired to ever really see. I wasn't awake anymore. I had gone to sleep inside. And that's when I started to say 5 words. And these 5 words, I believe, have changed my life. And they're simple, but I would look up at the ceiling and I would say, thank you for this day. And every day I would say, thank you for this day. And I would drive to work and I would see a brand new bloom that wasn't there yesterday, and I would say, thank you for this day. And the more I said thank you for this day, the more grateful I became, and the more grateful I became, the more wonderful people began to come into my life. It was really strange, and the people that weren't so grateful, or maybe weren't so great, began to leave my life. And the day that Pamela Dorman bought Cece, I went outside and I threw my arms up in the air and I yelled, thank you for this day! Because I just still couldn't believe that this magic was happening to me. And so I flew to New York because I wanted to meet the people that were going to shepherd my little girl into print. I wanted to make sure I liked them. What if I didn't like them? This was my little girl. So I flew up there and met my literary agent. She flew in from Australia. And we went to the Viking Penguin headquarters, and I can't even begin to tell you what it was like to walk through there and to see these girls in cubicles looking around and then whispering, that's the one that wrote Saving Cece Honeycutt. It was amazing to me. And we had wonderful meetings, and I have to say I was so nervous. At one point, my legs were shaking so badly that when they wanted me to get up and go meet the president of Viking, Claire Ferrero, I just stayed talking for a minute to try and collect myself because my knees were just vibrating. Because I kept thinking back to everything it took to get me there, which was also nearly dying. And that's when I again said thank you for this day. And when the cab finally took me back to my hotel, and you know New York, there's just all those buildings, and a lot of them have the windows that look like mirrors. And I turned and I could see myself sitting in the cab as we're stopped, and I saw me. And I thought, there's that little girl with the frogs and the chicken and the imaginary friends from the farm. And she did it. I don't know what's going to happen, but she did it. And I broke down in that cab and bawled like a baby until that cab driver said, are you all right? No. I just wrote a book. And of course, they've seen it all in New York, so he just didn't care. You know, someone down south might have wanted to talk to me about it, but he didn't care. And so that is why I'm standing here looking at all of your faces and getting teary, because A, I can't believe it happened to me, and I'm grateful for it. and B, I can't believe that y'all would take time out of your day to come and see me.